Wednesday. Welcome to One and Dine Wednesday. Let's see how we could get this. I got the TV. Hi, Yazzie Boo. Today is One and Dine Wednesday. We talking trauma and triggers. I had a whole little setup for y'all, but it don't want me to add my little setup, so I'm convinced that it's not supposed to happen for that. But that's all right because I don't need that to talk trauma and triggers. So today we talking trauma and triggers. Welcome to Wine on Wednesday. It's your first time here. I do this each and every Wednesday. We live. Like, subscribe, follow if you always want to get an update. Stay tapped in. Transparency. We live on YouTube. They can't see you, but they can hear you. So everything you say will be recorded live. I only share screenshots of everybody on live when I know everybody there don't mind. But anyways, so today we talking triggers because we talk a lot of different topics on Wine and Down Wednesday, and it's sensitive topics. Again, I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I opened this space to provide a safe space for women to come and talk and reflect on life and decisions and situations. And I was triggered this week. I was fucking triggered this week. Yes, girl, because my neighbors, oh my God, they be dumping. And that shit just had me all the way in my feelings because I remember when it was me and it triggered me. Right. And so, one time I talked rape, another lady said she was triggered. Last week we was just talking self-love and support. And another person was talking about how they was triggered. And I was like, all of these different topics always bring up triggers, but we never really talk about it. And so once I got triggered, I was like, that had to be my topic today because I never expected me to be triggered. you know, I'm this healed person, I'm strong, I'm able to come on here, I'm empowered. And it was really a trigger for me because it was like a bad flashback of where I didn't want to be or what I used to go through. And it was like, how do you really deal with those triggers? Like, do those triggers send you to that place that is like you're going back to the same thing? Do those triggers like make you make bad decisions, or is it just something that's like temporary? Welcome to Wine and Down Wednesday. Go ahead, say it. And okay, that makes how far how the trigger really affects you, right? Okay, yeah. And I say that because it didn't affect me to where I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta run away, I gotta get away from this situation. Like, for one, mind your business. When somebody is in a domestic violence situation, you mind your business. As much as you might care to help or want to help, domestic violence is real. People die. It causes suicide. Like, it's something that's not really talked about because of the reactions of other people. But you can only help yourself if you want to help yourself, or you can only help somebody if they want to help themselves. And so, exactly. Like, I was just talking to my man about that because I had to call him on the phone. Like, yo, I'm feeling some type of way. Like, I want to be kind of safe for her, but I know I need to mind my business because I've been there before. And I was talking to my mom about it recently, and she was just telling me another story about how one of her friends had a friend, and they told them like, leave your man, you don't have to deal with that, da 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 da. And the nigga called her and told her like, bitch, I would kill you if you don't mind your business. Like, this shit is really real. So it was like, is that a trigger? Would that be a trigger? Exactly. You definitely need to mind your business. This is not about minding your business, and this was not domestic violence focused because you can have triggers at work, you can have triggers at school. There's many different situations where you could be in a situation and something triggers you and your emotions or how you feel about different things. So it was a trigger for me though, and I need to really discuss this trigger because I just never felt like, I would be so worried about somebody. And it's like, it's so sad that us as women, we decide to stay in bad situations. And it's not always physical abuse, there's verbal abuse, there's mental abuse, there's different levels of abuse. So, You know, what is a way that you deal with trigger?
Well, I wouldn't want to recommend anything, but I smoke marijuana, so that's how I deal with my triggers.
For everybody watching, she in a legal state. Let her mind her business. Let her live her life. But okay, that's the way you deal with your trigger.
That's really what's going on.
I respect that.
I'm not trying to tell nobody that, hey, go smoke. That's gonna help you. But that's how I've been doing. So you found those something.
So that's what you do to deal with your trigger. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, it just made me think about, so I quit smoking. I was a former smoker. I used to smoke and I don't smoke anymore. But it really made me think about, like, what do I do when I'm triggered? Welcome to Wine and Down Wednesday. So, in the midst of my meetings, you might hear me say welcome to Wine and Down Wednesday multiple times because it's Wine and Down Wednesday. I don't have my wine, even though I should, because this is definitely a topic you want to take a sip of wine too. But, you know, as people come in and join, I always greet them with happy Wine and Down Wednesday. Welcome to Wine and Down Wednesday. And to anybody who's like on YouTube watching or like and subscribe, full transparency. They can't see you, but they can hear you. I am live on YouTube. This is a private Zoom, so it's only us. But today's topic is trauma and triggers, and we're talking about how you deal with triggers because I was triggered. I'm a survivor, and I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, it kind of overwhelms me in the moment, and I didn't like it. You know, it was not a good feeling because I'm a healed person. I'm healed from that drama. Like, my man is not that type of person. Like, I don't deal. You're right. All right. I don't deal with that type of stuff at all. Like, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful that I grew out of it. You know, not next week because next week is Entrepreneurs Week, but the week after we're gonna talk about running and staying because I used to be a runner. Like, if I felt like it was a bad situation, and you know, embarrassingly, my cousin is here. Welcome. You know, she seen me do a couple of crazy things, and you know, I was a runner. If I felt like I didn't want to deal, I couldn't deal. I would run. I would leave naked. I would leave everything behind. Like I left cribs with furniture, clothes. I'm done and I'm running. And then I end up in a bad situation all over again. So, you know, speaking of triggers is more the acknowledgement. Go ahead. What you about to say, Lisa?
So most importantly, like you say, you ran and then you got in the same situation. So you have to learn what the triggers are and what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with before you move forward into another situation that could possibly be the same.
And you know, that's why I'm so mad my slides didn't come up. So as y'all know, I'm always live. Hold on. I'm gonna work it out eventually when I got time to play with this shit and do it where y'all can see what they see and I don't have to keep doing this screen share thing. Cause last time I did a screen share, it didn't come up right. Hold on, cause I want y'all to see what YouTube is saying. Well, I ain't even gonna show you this week. Yeah, I ain't even gonna show y'all this week because at the end of the day, the slide I wanted to come up is not coming up. It keeps coming up as a zip and it's not coming up as a picture. I need it as a picture, but when I want to spend time, I'll spend time. But long story short, you know, it's about the accountability. That's why I wanted to show y'all. Like, you have to know your warning signs. If you do not know your warning signs, you are liable to keep going through the same things. Like, the best thing I learned in my healing process was you have to learn from the situation. If you don't learn from a situation, you're going to keep going back to it. So like I said, you know, running is going to be a whole nother topic, a whole nother day. But when I ran back to the same thing. Even if it was a different person, it was the same type of attractions, the same type of situations in different ways because I was looking for love and I thought I found it, but I kept getting hit with the same trauma, the same drama. And I didn't realize that it was triggers involved. Like, you have to know your triggers. That's where your mental health comes in, your accountability comes in. When you know what is a trigger for you, or when you know what you will accept and what you won't accept, when you know the type of situations or environments you want to be in, that plays a big part into, you know, what the next situation or what the outcome might be for you. Because again, I didn't know, you know, I knew, like, people go through this shit every day. This is real life. This shit is, whether it's talked about or not talked about, it's gonna happen. It been happening. Being even talking about is not gonna make it stop from happening. But I never knew it was that much of a trigger for me that it made me feel uncomfortable. And it's just like, you could tell when somebody is trying to tell you something, but they're not really telling you. But, I have that energy. People draw to me. People tell me their problems. People come to me for support. People are drawn to me in different ways. And I didn't realize, that is a trigger for me. Like, I want to help. This is what this is for. So, if I could, I would invite Shorty to the fucking call and we could just talk about it. I don't even want to know your drama. I don't even know what happened, but I'm scared to get involved that much because, you have to be ready for that type of situation to end. Like, you have to be ready to get away from what you cannot accept, whether it is abuse, whether it's just living in a bad situation. And that's what made me want to talk about it because your environment is everything. Sometimes people have kids or they be married. Say again?
It's people, places, and things.
Right, people, places, and things. And it's so many different situations because some people have kids, some people be married. You never know what makes a person really stay, even though they see the red flags and they see the trigger things. So today's topic is triggers and trauma. Welcome to Wine and Down Wednesday, ladies. It's Wine and Down Wednesday. I really want to have some wine, but I'm not drinking today just because I don't know. I'm not a drinker. I used to be a heavy drinker and I'm not. I'm not in the mood. But how does anybody else want to reflect on what is the trigger for them and how they deal with it? And it doesn't have to be domestic violence. It could be work. It could be friends. Like sometimes your friends trigger you. You could be hanging with a group of girls, and next thing you know, one of them is acting funny and talking behind your back, and that's a trigger for me. That is a big trigger for me. Once I see you looking at me sideways, or you want to see if I'm watching your conversation from the sidelines, we can't be friends because I'm not worried about what the fuck you talk about, what you doing. Like, this is bigger than just domestic violence. I really need y'all to understand that this is just a life period. Like, a trigger is a trigger. Sometimes it could be work. Like the lady was saying last week, she was triggered because she lost. That's her trigger. If you lose it and that triggers you, how does that affect you? How does that make you make your next decision in life of what you should do or how you change the outcome of that trigger? Like, now that I know it's a trigger for me, it's really nothing I can do about it, but I'm going to adjust myself to, so that it's not so much of a trigger. So now I'm gonna ask y'all again. Does anybody want to say how they feel about triggers or something that triggers them? That how they deal with it?
Um, my trigger is liars. I don't like liars.
Talk about it.
If you lie, you steal, you cheat. I don't like liars.
I don't like
how
liars.
I deal with them, don't deal with them at all. That's how. Once I figure it out, it's over.
Okay, so lying is a trigger for
Somebody
you.
take me to a different space, and then I might get the bad end of the stick, and I'm not willing to do that for nobody. So.
Okay, so does it make you get violent? Like, are we talking violence here?
I we just get violent.
We just took a separation.
I just bye. You gotta go. It's not even that. It's not even that important unless it's really important. You know what I mean? But if it's not, they gotta go.
Nah, I don't like liars. Lying is a trigger for me as well. That's something that I know.
You can be open and honest because I'm not a violent person like that. You know what I mean? You can be very transparent, folks. But if you gotta lie, I don't care if it's a little lie, a big lie. Just don't do it.
Hey Tam, you want to talk about a trigger today?
Trigger?
Mm-hmm.
My trigger?
What's a trigger?
I have a lot.
Tell us a trigger and how you deal with it. Just tell me one, or tell me two if you got two that you would like to share.
I hate nastiness.
Okay.
It's a trigger. It's a big trigger for me. Like you said, liars. How I deal with it, girl. Hey, we don't want to go there.
Are we still working on that? Are we still working on that resolution?
I'm a work in progress. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm work in progress. Sometimes I just cuss. I cuss a lot. I cuss a lot. I do. But sometimes that red flag is just, it ain't get over my head. I'm a work in progress. I'm working. I'm working.
But it's the acknowledgement. At least you know what your trigger is, and you okay with that. You're willing to say that's too much. Now you better slow down.
It just hurts people. It's just.
How you be like, y'all? I don't know why my phone do not want to charge for me. So if I get cut off on y'all, I'm sorry. I apologize. Colleen, bring my charger out of my room, please, fast.
Sometimes people can be a trigger.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out there. Sometimes people trigger me. I know that about myself. I learned that today.
Yes.
I'm proud of myself. Most definitely. And, I went to Red. I went to Red and I saw it. So I was like, you know what, Tammy? I started saying to myself, girl, the devil's a lie. Don't do this today because you're gonna be fired. Even though I don't give a damn if I get fired, but it was like, if I step over that and go to that red zone, I'm trying my best not to. That's that was a lie. That's all I can say.
People are triggered. Say that, look. She gets snaps because that's what triggered me. People and other people's problems. Because people be going through stuff.
Sometimes people would do it for you.
People.
Out of, I don't know what it be, but out of something.
People do things, they say things, or they just be so inconsiderate. And I'm an empathy person. I have empathy. I know how to have empathy. And empathy is not something everybody has. Everybody could have empathy. It's just the feeling of caring and having consideration for people. And
putting yourself in their shoes.
Yes.
To understand where the hell they're coming from, definitely. That's true.
People don't have it.
I learned that a lot. A lot of people don't know it, but I learned that a lot through therapy. I had to go to therapy to learn a lot of these things. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I never told anybody that, but yeah, it helped me. It helped me learn that boundary with that red, how to bring it down. Because at one point I didn't know how to fucking bring it down. So it helped me. It helped me.
So therapy, let's talk about that a little bit because
it helps.
A lot of people is scared of therapy. A lot of people feel like, no offense to anybody who watches, it's a white thing. It's not. I've been to therapy, whether it was group counseling or individual counseling. It's a way to help with your trigger. You have to be able to talk about it. If you cannot talk about what is triggering you, then you will continuously be triggered by those situations. So I say, hi, Ma. You will continue to be triggered by those situations if you can't release it. If you can't release how that made you feel or what it is that made you feel some type of way, you will always be triggered by that. Now,
you gotta know that problem. You gotta know yourself.
Right.
I learned that. I learned that when my son passed. How to learn to, love myself again. How to be me again. How to start over and love my kids again. Like just self love and all. So I learned a lot.
Self love.
So I'm sorry to hear that you have my deepest sympathy.
Right. Thank you for thank you for coming in. Thank you for being transparent because we all live is transparent. If y'all know me like y'all know me, I'm an open book.
To talk my story. At one time I was scared to talk my story, but I'm not, at this point in age, I'm not scared to, help people, be there for people. You know what I'm saying? Just, sometimes be an ear. Sometimes I need that ear, but sometimes people feel like, oh Tammy, you so strong. All the time. You such a strong person. You this, you that. But deep down inside, you don't really know what I am because you never really asked, you never really cared to find out. You never really cared to listen. You never really was there.
You've never been in my shoes.
I needed that. You know what I mean? You thought I was so strong, so you didn't even try. Yeah. Right, it be the strong ones that need the ones that need to ask eat help too. Sometimes. Definitely.
That's right.
We're not even gonna ask for help. We're not even gonna ask for help. So.
And that's me. I don't ask for help.
Me
I
neither.
rather do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love y'all. Valentine's Wednesday is so poppy, y'all. If you're not here, then you be missing. But anyway, so because I'm glad you went there with your baby, because a lot of people deal with stuff like that or go through stuff like that, and that's a trigger. That's a trigger. Some people have babies and that triggers them, or some people, they have miscarriages, they have abortions, they do different things, and it's a trigger. Like I said, this conversation is about triggers. It's not about domestic violence. Like, that was just a trigger for me, because it was something that it gave me a flashback of something that I went through, and I didn't know how to deal with it. But it's so many different things and so many different situations. Say again?
I've been there too.
It's so many different triggers, though. It's so many things in life that could be a trigger for you, and that you have to learn how to overcome. Like, it takes a lot to say, this is not for me, or even though I lost my baby, I'm not mad that you had a baby, or I'm not sad that you had a baby. It is a healing process within yourself. Like, you have to love yourself. Like, that is the best thing you said. Like, that's the only thing you can do to be happy, to get the love you're looking for, to be successful in life. Like, you have to have that self-love. Once you acknowledge and love yourself, that is the only way you can grow from any situation. Because if you don't love yourself, you're going to always fall victim. You're always going to be vulnerable. You're always going to be right back in that same trigger. Yeah, in the wrong places. And that's what...
I was about to say that in all the wrong places.
Right. You're going to skip all the red flags just for one little good thing. No.
Right. Like, so today's topic is triggering traumas again. Welcome to Wanda Down Wednesday. Every week is a different topic, but that is this week's topic because, it's crazy that the littlest things could trigger you. And, how you deal with it it plays a big part on what's your outcome, what's your next situation. Your environment is a reflection of you. Even though people might not see it that way, it really is. Because if you choose to stay in a certain environment, you're always going to have those triggers. You're always going to be vulnerable to those different type of situations that you want to get out of or you don't want to deal with. And if you don't love yourself, then you're never going to see yourself growing from that type of situation. Like, you have to see the personal growth, even if it is just I woke up today, or the acknowledgement of, I know that's a trigger, I know I don't like that, I know I don't want to be around those type of things. You have to know what is for you and what is not for you. Like, my friends, I could literally count it on my hands, because it was a lot of things and people that I had to get away from. They was triggers, they was trauma, and I didn't want that for my life. I want better. I'm talking different, I'm moving different, I am different, and I'm happy with that. But to know that it's so easily I was triggered, is like, wow, okay, we really got to talk about this. Like, I had to dive deep, because it was like, what is going on here? Like, is it really that easy for people to just be triggered? And, my trigger is different from somebody else's trigger who had a loss, or if they just dealing with friends, because, I'm not in that same type of situation. And like I said, I thank God for that every day, that, I know my worth now. I know what I want in life. And you have to have people who want that for you too. And if people don't want that, you have to get away from it, regardless of if they the breadwinner, regardless of if they taking care of you, regardless of the marriage, the kids. Regardless, you have to do what you have to do for you. Like, it starts with you. You cannot be there for your kids if you're not there for you. Like, they need a mother with a strong head, knowing what they're doing, trying to do something. Like, that vulnerable shit, I can't be vulnerable no more. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm still vulnerable to a lot of things. I'm still healing, I'm still growing, I'm not the most perfect person, and I'm okay with that, because it's a process. Everything take a process, but I'm just happy to know that that triggers me. I don't like it, and I don't want it to be something that I'm judging people, because you never know nobody's situation. And you know domestic violence go both ways. Sometimes the bitch get beat up, sometimes the niggas get beat up. It's bitches that beat up niggas too. Make sure y'all know that. But you never know what it is that people is going through. You can't say how somebody should feel or what somebody should feel because you're not walking in their shoes. You don't know what put them in that situation. You don't know why they tolerate that situation, or you don't know what caused other situations to happen to, you know, make them feel that type of way. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. That is where I'm at. Anybody else want to share a trigger, how they deal with triggers? If you don't want to share your trigger, how do you deal with it? No, that's fine. I'm still learning how to deal with mine. Look, I can't tell you how I'm dealing with it.
Everybody learns how to deal with it.
You will side. You just we're gonna be like Martin, rub your ears.
I have a common name too. One relationship wise, like let's say a guy do something for you, or like you tell a guy something about your past, y'all get into argument. That's the first thing they bring up. Um,
I need to
another
be.
one.
I need to be a DJ with the gunshot thing, the gunshot sound. Boom, boom, on fire every time somebody say some real shit.
Because it's like what I noticed, like a lot of guys do that, and I just be like, oh wow, like because I know if I'm doing something from genuine from my heart, I'm not gonna just throw it up in your face because that's just like, yo, you should have did it if it wasn't gonna be genuine. And then another thing is like with friends, like some friends don't know how to give the right advice, especially like if it's like a relationship. Friends is bad giving relationship advice if they don't have like a relationship or something to like experience on. Especially, all right, for example, one of my friends claims that since I've been with my boyfriend, I've been losing myself. But I'm just like, how am I losing myself if I got my own business, cleaning business? Um, I take care of my daughter. I'm not stressing. I'm able to pay my bills without having to do a 9 to 5. I'm able to like think more, but I'm more closed in. Yeah, I don't have like a social life like I used to, but that's because I ain't have nothing to pull. Like I ain't have like a brain to think. So it's just like some friends don't really understand when you're trying to elevate yourself. They'll be like, they don't see your growth, baby. They don't see your growth.
I was
No, they don't want you to grow because they know that you're going to surpass them and then not really fuck with them because they ain't about shit.
girl. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. That's like falling by the wayside.
That's not a friend. You should walk away. Right, definitely.
Some people, so all right, let's talk about that a little bit because it's one thing when you get in a relationship and you do lose yourself, you stop doing things you used to do, but you don't see no growth within it. It's another thing when you get in a situation and you're growing within your situation. Everybody's not going to grow with you, everybody's not meant to go to your next level of life. So that could be what it is. That could be exactly what it is, simple as that. Yes, like they fall by the wayside. Like I was listening to somebody that was like, now they getting money, now they wearing fancy, expensive clothes and shit. And somebody asked them like, well, what did you do about the people that don't like you? What did you do about your beef? Or what did you do about the people that started with you that's not here with you now? And they was like, we ain't do nothing about it. All we did was keep elevating, and then whoever didn't go up in our cycle, they fell off. They fell by the wayside. So, a person who feeling like you're doing better than them or they can't match your energy now because you're into different things and not the same things you used to be into, they're gonna say stuff like that. That's a trigger for me. Like, how are you gonna tell me what's good for me or what I'm doing now? If you feel like you're losing yourself and somebody second that thought, that's a different emotion. That's acknowledgement. Like, okay, wait, maybe you seeing something what I'm seeing, and then I need to acknowledge it. But if you don't feel like you're losing yourself and somebody else who's not in your situation, that is not in your shoes or your relationship, is telling you losing yourself, bitch, no, I'm not being the thot in the club doing the shit that I didn't used to do. Like, I'm doing something different with my life. Like,
And for everybody's not supposed to grow with you. Some people is there for a season. You learn from them, and that time just went. And it's time for you to move on to something different. They was there for that season. Now it's time to move forward.
friends is definitely seasonal.
As you get older, you have different responsibilities as far as like jobs, things of that nature. So I'm not gonna be able to hang out with you every time you're ready to hang out. And I don't know
you might not just click. So you might have to go your own way and find somebody that does the things that you do. Because I don't. And another thing too is like I moved to Queens, so now it's like all my friends is in the Bronx. So now all my friends be like, "Oh, you live mad far," but I be saying like, "Yo, I would travel all the way to such and such to go see my friends. So why you can't do the same?" Right.
Because that's not your friend.
No, because if you was doing something you wanted to do, they fucking travel the moon.
Oh, right.
We gonna get tired. I've been there. Yeah, I'm tired. Da, 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 da. We gonna do this. We gonna do that. Oh, I'm coming. Matter of fact, I'm taking the Uber. I'm not even getting on the train. But if you ain't doing what they doing, they like, oh, we might as well go to so and so house that's right there. That's about to be a fucking food all night.
It definitely be like that. Oh man. See, I'm glad you see we don't talk about the triggers with relationships, the trigger with kids, the trigger with friends. Like I said, we took the triggers and trauma. It's triggers and trauma in everything you go through because you know that could be traumatic to somebody who don't have a lot of friends, and then they one little friend is like, "Oh well, you moving funny, you changing, you losing yourself." Like what? You know that could send somebody down a path. Like suicide is real, depression is real, so you want to make sure you're not going down those paths. Like talk about it if you need to talk about it. Find you a real friend that's gonna support you and not just criticize you. Like people always got something to say, but they not telling what they traumas and what they triggers is or what they situation is that you know they can't. Everybody can't deal with what you could deal with. Everybody cannot walk in your shoes. So you know, just acknowledging like, all right, well maybe she's not the person you want to talk to all the time or go to or get feedback from, and definitely don't be listening to them because that could send you on a trigger. That could send you down a path to losing yourself because now you're so stressed about what somebody else thinks. Fuck what people think. That's a part of healing. You have to stop caring what others think because if you cared about what somebody else thinks, the only person who could judge me is God. Like, and He can't tell me right now until I'm dead, so I don't want to hear it from nobody. Like, keep your opinion to yourself. Period. It's like it's so real. Like it's triggers.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. Step to the stage with your trigger.
One of my triggers is my mother and my father.
Mm.
Not believing that I could handle certain things on my own. Not believing I could take care of my kids on my own. Telling me what to do. And, I understand,
Hold
your
on, yeah, my
mother,
baby's
father, they say no best and stuff like that. But they was raised differently. And their views are different from your views. You get what I'm saying? So, and sometimes it's irritating for my mother to sit there and tell me constantly, well, you got to give your son
sorry.
medicine when he was sick. Isn't that a given? Isn't that like, you don't think I know that? That's kind of like, it's irritating. It's a trigger. Like, moms feel like, oh, you don't know it already. Basically, when something is happening, it's almost like common sense, and I would just be like, do you think I'm dumb?
Everybody don't have common sense. Let me tell you that everybody don't have common sense. So don't feel bad about that.
You know that I have my shit together. You know that I take care of things that I'm supposed to take care of. But it's constantly you trying to seem like you want to raise my children. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like that to me. And I tell her about herself. And she be like, I don't care. You just gotta listen to me.
That's mothers. Now I want to say a lot of people might feel like their mother is a trigger because parents are triggers too. You know, people grew up differently. A lot of people can't relate to the same type of situations. You know, but it's the acknowledgement that's a trigger for you. Certain things you may just learn how to not react to or not respond to because a mother's going to be a mother. They're going to say what they want to say. They're going to do what they want to do because they raised you. How you be like, I know everybody in here got to be at least 25 or older, and they mother told them, look, I made you, I take you out, so you gotta listen to mommy. But it could be a trigger, and that's when family becomes a big word because some people feel like their family is their mother, their father, their brother, their sister. Some people feel like it's their husband and their kid. What is family for you? So that again is a whole nother topic, but that is also a trigger. You know, I can't address that because no, my mother does trigger me sometimes. But we've grown to the point where, I know when to address the situation or I know when to walk away. And that's how I did it. My mother's my mother. I love my mother to the end of the world, but some things is just not for her. Some things I just have to walk away because she gonna feel how she feel. I feel how I feel. We gonna agree to disagree. That's my mother. Like, but that is a trigger. Thank you for sharing, because some people wouldn't say their mothers is a trigger. Some people would be scared. Like, nah, my mother might hear this shit, flip out on me. Like, we grown, but listen, your mother would still try to beat you as a grown woman, I'm sure. So, it is a trigger. Just learn how to deal with it now. Now that you know that's a trigger for you, think to yourself or figure out on your own time how you gonna adjust to that. You live by yourself. You take care of your kids. So, again, is judgment. You can't let somebody else's judgment move what you do or what you decide, because that always changes. Khalid, can you get my baby? Can you get my baby, please? Let him go in your room for a little while. This is real life, y'all. I got kids. They need to spend some time together. I don't have one of those households where I could go in the room and lock myself. No, I got a little baby, and my baby be right here with me. I know y'all see him sometimes, and he walking around in his little walker. I be like, let's talk about how kids be triggered sometimes. Look at the little dirty baby. He had cookies and lollipops. Pumpkin, say hi.
Hi, Pumpkin.
But yeah, they triggers. And some parents, they kill their kids or do crazy shit. We not doing that over here, but sometimes you definitely have to just learn how to walk away or how to deal with it or do the woosah. I'm telling you, we do more Martin. Woosah, woosah. Rub your ears, kick off your shoes, do meditation. A lot of people do meditation. Meditation is good. I want to practice more meditation because
Meditation helps a lot.
it's a good woosah.
You gotta be none of that. Meditation can be music. I listen to music. That's my trigger. That's what I do when I music. Just start singing along as if I'm comfortable.
That's
Girl,
good.
I be meditating to Anita Baker and singing in the bathroom.
Everybody has that thing of comfort for them. So, know your comfort, get in tune with your comfort, be one with it. And come on, come on, come on, come on. You're going to mess up my stuff. Just get it right. I'm glad we had this conversation because I needed it. I was triggered, and I never would have thought like I would be so triggered so easily because I felt so bad. Like it was really worrying me. Like I could just remember when it was me and what my neighbors was saying or what they was feeling like. And I ain't judging nobody because, like I said, mind your business, and you don't know people's business, so you don't know who's the aggressor, what the situation was to put them in that situation in the first place. So I mind my business, but it definitely gave me a flashback of what I don't want, what I will not accept, and that's what it starts with. Loving yourself, knowing what you will, what you won't accept, and standing firm on that. If you don't stand firm on what you're not with, you vulnerable and liable to fall back into them bad situations that led you. Oh, this baby need a bath. Bad. That's what's next. But you're vulnerable to deal with the shit that you don't want to deal with or be back in them situations where you are triggered, and you got to see the warning signs, see the red flags. It's real, and it takes time.
I also noticed that's a trigger for me now. Recently, grieving my well that passed. So it's like I'll see a old person and then I'll start getting sad, start crying anywhere I'm at. So it's just like I be trying to like cope with it.
And you will, on your own time. Grievance is something that is no time frame on it. People still grieving after years, after centuries, like decades. Like it's never no time limit on how long you could grieve somebody who was close to you or important to you. So you definitely, that's something you have to overcome and deal with, and hopefully, yeah, that trigger. Hopefully that trigger goes away because that's a hard one.
But yeah, that used to happen to me when my grandmother passed away years ago. I was at work on the register, and I was just looking at some old lady, and I just broke down because she reminded me of her.
Mhm.
But see, the thing with my Wella is like the way I found out was kind of hard. So it's like now me and my father is not on good terms because of that. Because he was there and he even let me say my last goodbyes to her, and I felt like that was mad selfish.
And he was like, you didn't want to say that. And I'm just like, you didn't give me a chance.
Selfishness is a trigger. I am triggered by people who are selfish. I can't stand it.
A lot of my family members, when they passed, my mother used to tell me, "Oh, you don't want to go to that funeral, or you don't want to do this, or you don't want to do that." And I see what she was saying when she said it, but I was just like, "No, I do. I want to go. Like, I want to grieve too. Like you can't stop me from grieving. How can you do that? You know what I'm saying?"
Well, I want to say that to say.
She was just saying it like to protect my feelings, like, "Oh, you're gonna be too, you're gonna be too emotional, or you're gonna be this, that, and the third." And it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to grieve. You're supposed to be emotional.
You don't have to go to a funeral to grieve somebody.
Some people hide their feelings and stuff like that. And I tell people all the time, if you don't like me crying, don't look at me. Like, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna bawl out in tears, I'm gonna yell, all of that.
Yeah,
And I always it just helps. It relieves a lot of pain and stress. But some people, we're taught to, oh, it's not strong. You gotta be strong. Don't cry. Don't cry. No, cry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of release too.
I was about to say that's
part of healing too.
That's a resolution. That's how you deal with your trigger. Sometimes it's crying. I don't know why I have an echo and that's blowing me, but that may just be something that you do to deal with your triggers. There's nothing wrong with crying. It's best to cry. Get that release out of your body. Don't keep it in. The more you keep things bottled in, the more it's like you're gonna blow up. Don't blow up. Cry sometimes, scream sometimes. Some people don't want to cry. Some people want to scream. Some people want to punch shit. That's why I had to ask earlier, like, do you want to get violent? He said, because some people like violence when they get triggered. It leads to different things. But as long as it's your thing to be happy or to get that stress off your body, off your mind, you can't sleep good at night when you have those worries on your mind or that tension in your body. Like, you have to overcome it. So
one of my therapists told me that when you feel aggravated and stressed, and then you feel like you want to hit something, grab you a pillow, name it, and hit it. And I was just like, I have like this special pillow.
you heard that? Grab a pillow, name it, and hit it. A pillow is a safe target. You won't get hurt.
Like, when you're thinking about your baby father, he do some dumb shit, nigga, fuck you.
Yeah, well, I'm dead. How should Nala, you want to say something today?
I don't even know what it is. Get on the card.
Okay, no. She's having a Tammy moment.
I don't want the comments to be like, all kids are with me. I'm trying not to hurt their feelings and stuff. So I'm just sitting here squeezing, but I'm with them, all of them. In the grocery store.
Now she's a mother of 5, so when she say all of them, no, it's not just 1 and 2. She got 5 that she's thinking about, and they all ages, so she don't want to hurt feelings.
She said that's the trigger.
Right? Okay, I told you.
My mom is the trigger too. I wanted to say all that, but I was like, oh, I'm with them and I can't talk and I don't want to talk.
Well, I appreciate you for coming anyway. But yes, kids definitely. Whew, This baby is a trigger. I be ready to choke him. That's my baby. I love him. He just want to touch and eat everything. Well, YouTube, I'm gonna let y'all go because it's Wanda Down Wednesday, and I got another meeting at 8. But acknowledge your triggers, talk about them, drop anything in the comments, any responses, any topics you want to talk about. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the page. Let's get it popping.